think we are back now. Yeah, this is happening all the day. Let's again blame yesterday, the weather outside. There's no storm, but somehow the heat is, I guess, influencing us. Anyway, so going back to this position, I keep using the same word all the time. I'm surprised, but let me say it again. I'm surprised that Yu Yangyi went for this position. A4, if we stop here for a moment, why black didn't respond with A5, which would make a lot of sense. I guess this potential outpost on B5 for the knight. So that's why C5, a rook B8 first on C5 makes a lot of sense, because D takes, B takes, you have the rook exactly where it belongs. White plays D5. And I think that ideally what black would want to do here, he would want to play bishop F6, kill it for the knight on C3, and only then close the position with E5. But here's the thing, you can't really play bishop F6 because it drops the pawn. Right? After D takes on E6, queen D6 is a problem. So as much as Yu Yangyi would want to trade the darks for bishops, he can't simply do it. And D takes on E6 followed by bishop H3 actually at some point is a pretty major threat. So he plays E5 and he willingly accepts that his bishop on E7 is not great, but apparently he's pretty happy about it.
Maybe instead of E5 he could have played rook E8 and then knight F8, protecting the pawn, instead of E5. Instead of E5?
Here?
Rook E8 and knight F8. And then bishop F6 idea might...
Yeah, it definitely was a possibility. Maybe it has something to do with E5.
Yeah.
You know, I can't very quickly figure it out. I see that black has to answer some very immediate pressing questions. Let's say knight E5, D takes on E5, I could take on E6. Let's say we force the trade, and then eventually, probably in some better scenario, I get the knight on E4, right? I have sacrificed the pawn, I have a beautiful outpost on E4, the bishop on E7 is terrible.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's go back to the game. So D5, E5 was played, bishop H3, remaneuver the rook to F1. Most likely there will be some F5 or F4 break.
Or maybe he's going to play it quite similarly as in his game against Diak. We had a slightly different structure, bishop F8, bishop H6. So this is where essentially clashes the understanding, the beliefs of two players. One player says, listen, your bishop on H7 is bad, you should be having a very good position. The other player says, it's not a bad bishop. Actually, on H6, he's going to make a great bishop. Who's right?
Yeah, we are going to see who is right here for sure. And yeah, 91 was played, preparing for the push of F4. The question is if it is 1. So what will black do? We play rook E8, bishop F8 idea?
I think so. I think he's going to push at some point H5, put the bishop on H6. How do you do it? But this is going to be a long maneuvering game. So white plays knight E1, knight G2, F3, knight E3 maybe, or maybe keeps the knight on G2, F3 keeps idea to play H4, G4. There's a lot of ideas, so this is going to be a slow game.
You don't think that F4 could be an idea?
Depends. You know, I'm not really sure because depends on the execution. So F4, it would allow black to play knight E7, bishop F6, activate the bishop. I think that definitely Quang Liem is thinking about it, but if he is going to play F4, he's going to choose the right moment. Because let's say black plays rook E8, F4, and black doesn't have E takes on F4. Then this idea F5 could be very strong. I mean, gaining a lot of space, and you know, rook G2, G4, H4, black has no counterplay. I know that engines usually love this, and humans have learned quite a lot from the engines. You're right. Yeah, F4 is definitely very good. So first question for Yu Yangyi is what he's going to do against this. So maybe rook E8 or knight E7 to make sure he has the capture.
Yeah, absolutely. It's possible. Not so sure. Maybe we would like at this moment check some other games.
Let's do that. Which game would you prefer?
Let's go maybe to another leader, or you want to check someone we haven't checked that much?
Yeah, let's start with the leaders.
Let's start with the leader, okay.
Play with white against Vincent Keymer. Board
Think
number
with black, actually.
2.
He's playing with black. So Vincent Keymer is with white pieces.
Oh,
We
my
see
apologies.
them. We see them on the camera. Okay. So
Some
actually,
Catalan, no?
don't have that much of a, like, it's kind of a mirrored position, you might say. You know, normally when there is a pawn structure which is like facing each other, it's like we could say like mirrored, but something special there.
No, it was
Okay,
not
it's-
Catalan,
it
it
was
was
not-
English.
It was English.
Okay, so Navara immediately struck in the center. Let's assume it's part of the prep. Takes some Grunfeld ideas, because this idea of d5, it's more common for the Grunfeld, because very often in a classical Grunfeld, white would play at some point e4, after knight c3, b takes on c3, and he has a very strong pawn center. Here, of course, things are different, because the pawn stands on b3, you can't play e4.
Things are very different, so he has to take on d5 and playing bishop a3, trying to put pressure on this c pawn. After trade, queen a5, and now,
Okay.
so
Is this even working? Just a second. I'm quite surprised, but I guess since they're playing so quickly, white is up a piece, right? As far as I can see. Ah, queen d6. Okay. I was thinking only about rook d8, and there's queen e5. Queen d6. Okay.
yeah, just bringing the queen and getting that knight, maybe knight c6 as an idea.
Yeah, knight c6 is definitely an option. Knight c6, give away the knight back, but establish weakness. Rook c1, queen c3, maybe b4, a3, fix this as a weakness, and then again follow in the footsteps of Aaron Nemtsovich and try to establish the second weakness in the ranks of the opponent.
Absolutely.
But pretty sure
So-
that Vincent is going to think about this for the moment, because knight c6, as tempting as it is, there might be another option, meaning black still has to take on b8, and perhaps Vincent can play something else in the meantime. Perhaps think about idea, like rook c1, queen b8, and perhaps queen c3. Try to get a queen on c7, and then maybe somehow make good out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, white is going just now to spend some time to try to understand how they can make a use of this loss of time, one move for black, and if it makes sense to play knight c6 to create that weak pawn on c6, or rather to make black play queen b7, queen b8. Actually, queen b8 might even help in a way black to develop the bishop. What do you think? Maybe something like rook c1, as we said, queen b8, and then white is helping, you know?
I think Vincent, yeah, he's going to play knight c6. Yeah, he played knight c6.
Knight c6,
But
yeah,
you know
I think.
why? You know why, Angelica? Because I think that he feels that his queen on c7 is really good, but it might just not be enough. So
Yeah.
think about something like, let's say, bishop e6, queen c7, let's say black, I'm not really sure, let's say takes, and plays rook d8. You know, he goes for the activity, he sacrifices the pawn, and you don't have what we call the long-term weaknesses. And one thing Vincent knows for sure, that after knight c6, this weakness on c6 is not going to disappear anytime soon, right? So that's why after knight c6, rook d1, okay, not rook c1. This weakness is something he can press for a long time, and this is not a forcing game.
Yeah, absolutely. Rook d1, bringing the other piece to the game, already occupying the d file. And the next moves might be something like rook d2. Oh, wait. Queen
David
a3, he
sacrificed the
sacrificed.
David is sacrificing the pawn, and that again is a great skill. You know, Angelica, would you name me, perhaps, do you know one player at the highest level who, if he faces positional difficulties, he will instantly sacrifice a pawn? Do you know who it is? He has actually played here in Biel. You know?
MVL?
Yeah. maybe it's a widespread knowledge, right? So Maxime Shelograf, he has done it so many times, and I've noticed him playing this. As soon as he has some positional problems, he sacrifices a pawn. You know, he's never going to go into a passive defense, because he knows having an extra pawn is not enough. And that's why you also hear David, even without thinking, right? He's not going to keep this pawn on c6. immediately he sacrifices the pawn and goes for an active defense. So I think that David is going to play something like bishop e6, rook c8, and say that, you know, you have your pawn, but I have my activity here.
Absolutely, and he's developing his bishop. About actually Maxim, I just also realized that there are so many games where it felt like, okay, he's always sacrificing a pawn, but there's always something behind. So even though it felt even the position was not so clear, he had some initiative for that pawn. He always was sacrificing some material. Yeah, indeed. And here we have, okay, bishop h3.
Makes sense, I
Makes
guess.
sense, yeah.
So let's say bishop g2 because your king on g1 is feeling all lonely. Takes, rook c8, rook c2. The queen on a1 is incredibly doing nothing, and I guess after queen b1, h5, h4, a5, it could be very difficult for white to make a progress. So that's what makes David Navara a very strong grandmaster. So imagine an average player here. After rook d1, he would be thinking, how do I protect this pawn? After queen c7, rook c1, bishop b7, queen d4, white would get exactly what he wants. And maybe at some point later, when facing already difficult problems, black would start to think, I have to give away this pawn. I have to play active, right? But David is doing this immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's just going for active defense, as Artur's already said. He wants to activate his pieces as much as he can. And actually, there is one trick which should not be missed here, because queen on a1 is taking all the squares, all the dark squares of the black's king. And there could be some ideas of rook checkmating on the last rank, of course. That might not happen, that should not happen, but there could be always an issue. And for example, even if playing something like h5, there could be a checkmate into so rook d8 and rook h8. So that's what the player has to be careful about.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. We are having Jules Moussard against Arjun Erigaisi.
Board number 4.
Quite some tension on the board. Do we see them?
I'm trying to figure that out. Wait, did I select the wrong board?
Board number 4, yes.
All right.
We're waiting for the players to appear.
All right. I don't think I have the camera just yet, but let's give it a moment.
Of course. So maybe meanwhile we are just going to return and check what happened at the beginning of the game, maybe?
Yeah, let's do that.
So we have...
French.
Oh, French.
French,
Okay.
other one's French. F6.
French against French.
That's nice, you know. Actually, one thing, Angelika, I don't know, maybe the viewers, you agree with me? I've noticed that a lot of French players, they're very keen to play the French defense. I mean, the black. I don't know why. Because obviously I played a lot international tournaments. I haven't really seen Italians playing the Italian game. The Spanish playing the Ryan Lopez. But somehow the French player, they're very keen to play the French defense, you know. It's very interesting. But I mean, French defense is a very, very good defense. And now also at the highest level, it's being brought back to life. Because for some time, at least at the highest level, it was believed that French defense is, you know, so-so, right? I mean, it's a good defense, but when you're playing it at the highest level, it's a bit risky, right? But now Magnus Carlsen has started to play it a lot. I think I also saw Fabi Caruana. I think he also was playing it. Maybe I'm wrong.
And let's not forget about World Championship match.
Who played it?
Dinleran played it, no?
He played it? Yeah?
Yeah, I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't recall immediately, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
I think one of the first games, actually, he played e6.
Okay, and we have the camera.
Okay, so now we see the players.
So let's just fast forward this. This f6 is quite a fashionable continuation. And Arjun stays true to his playing style so far in this tournament, even though it's not giving him any results, because he had a pretty disastrous tournament of just 960. Also here you can see He has only 2 points out of 5. He's in the 6th place, so that's why he's playing the French defense, who is looking for a fight. And
Yeah.
fast forwarding to the game, and he sacrificed an exchange.
He says, I don't need that rook, I need the bishop on b6. That's actually a very interesting idea.
You know, I think it definitely deserves an exclamation mark, at least for
Absolutely.
the bravery.
Absolutely, and there is a weakness on f2. So he says, I'm just going to push there on the king side.
You know, okay, I mean, stepping aside from the desire to win, I think bishop b6 makes sense. Why? Because he protects the pawn on a7, and he is pressing the pawn on f2, like you already said. And if this bishop was traded, then white will be able to organize a very serious pressure against the pawn on a7. Think about something like doubling, tripling every heavy piece you have at a file, and you're always looking at this pawn on a7. That's why Erigaisi says, I treat this as an equal trade. Right? You take my exchange, but now I have solved the problem of the pawn on a7, and combined together with this pressure on the pawn on f2, I say I have enough compensation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is enough compensation because it eliminates the whole attack and creates even attack against the white's king. Wow, what a maneuver. Knight h6 and knight g4. Yeah, I mean, that's...
You know, it's also very easy to play for black. This is also one thing which essentially makes the difference, Angelica, between accelerated time control games and classical, because maybe in classical, Arjun wouldn't be doing this. But if he plays the rapid, you need an easier game. And again, this is something which engines do not understand. And if I would switch on the engine, let me check engine says, white is better. You know, engine says white is better, everything is cool. But suddenly, black has all of these easy moves to make. Attack the pawn on f2, that's why knight h6 is such a great move. One mistake for white. Okay, rook e2 is a good one. Second mistake by white, because knight g4 was a big threat. And suddenly, if I now switch on the engine, guess what the engine says? Black is better.
Yeah, that's how it works, and that's why a player is trying to choose the way how to play the more comfortable and easier, and sometimes they have to make some sacrifices, and they're not afraid to do it. And h5 seems
There was
like
apparently
a
some missed
mess.
victory here with queen g3,
Knight f3 check.
king g2. And apparently there was something here. What about knight g4? It definitely sensed there's something. But you know what Arjun played also makes perfect sense. He wants to play h4, provoked white to play g4, so that he can play knight g6, knight f4. Maybe he feels there's no need to rush. And also look at the big difference on the clock.
Oh my god.
Bishop f2 already is demolishing white's position. Rook f2, queen g3. I mean, it just feels like Arjun is demolishing black.
Yeah, and he's trying to. Okay, they're playing very fast now, even though they both have quite. I mean, the rule has much less time, but Arjun has enough time and so many quick moves. We said okay, but it's very fast. It's very easy to play for him. So now the plan is after king takes on b6, queen d4 check, and then grabbing the rook and protecting from any kind of checkmate. So now black has to take maybe with a pawn.
If he takes with a pawn, you need to watch out for perpetual check, and I think this is what Arjun is countering right now.
But you cannot take with a king, that's why.
Why not?
Okay, because queen d4.
Oh, queen d4. Yeah, but now black is up so many extra pawns, the camera feed is back, and Arjun is crossing, I'm not crossing, my apologies, he's scoring here a very, very nice victory. Bishop c4, d takes on c4, maybe queen f3 check. Yeah, he just collects the pawn on h3 with a check. Nice trick, queen g3, queen h3.
Yeah, he's just taking everything with a check, and then he can even take the bishop with a check on c4.
Stellar performance by Erigaisi, absolutely. So maybe this is the game he was looking for. I mean, he was struggling chess 960 in the rapid tournament, and this is the game he was looking for. He needed this victory really much. And again, we have to go back to this moment, if I may. So this
Yes.
moment when he played bishop c6, let me check if engine even agrees with me. No, engine doesn't even offer bishop b6. It
You
says,
see?
yeah, you have to play bishop takes on a3, you have to play knight e7. Bishop b6 is the third choice, but there's one thing, like I already said, the engines don't understand, is this easiness to play.
That's the difference between human mind and engine mind. So that's why we're allowed to be creative, and it's getting paid back. Okay, so we have actually the draw in the game Bogdan Daniel Diak against Bassem Amin, and we could continue checking the games of the leaders. Yep.
Of the leader, of course. This is a game between like Quang Liem against Yu Yangyi. Yu Yangyi is the leader, 6 points out of 6. And right now we have a position where black is in a lot of trouble. So things are working really well for like Quang Liem, the winner of last year's Grandmaster Triathlon. Yesterday for the champion, the day was a disaster. He finished, how many points was it? 2 points, I think.
Yeah, I think 2 points.
Right, but also, if my memory is not very hazy, I think that for like Quang Liem, also last year the Chess 960 tournament was not very good, I think. And then he played very good in the classical section, he played very good in the rapid section. So here, the Vietnamese top grandmaster is on his way not only to score a very important victory, which could give him some confidence boost, but also to stop the leader.
Absolutely, and yeah, actually, maybe similar situation. We were just checking the boards, and I mean, Vincent Keymer had for sure some initiative against David Navara, so those could be really incredible if both of them could score victories, you know, and we would have already new leaders maybe. But okay, let's see what's happening here. Rook e1, yeah, I mean, it looks...
It's a technical position.
It looks a question of time.
The question of time, a question of technique. I think what Quang Liem is going to do, he positioned the rook in e2 just in case, not to blunder anything. The rook is in the dark square by the bishop. Rook e2, maybe knight f2, knight g4, knight e4, try to simplify the position and also make sure he's not missing any perpetual check. So at this level, I think that players should be able to win this. But again, everything can still happen.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you want to?
I think we are gonna switch. I believe that like Quang Liem is gonna win this, but let's jump back to this game maybe a bit later. Vincent Keymer with white against David Navara.
So David Navara gave up his pawn, and let's see how he's doing there. So he didn't manage actually to bring the rook to c8 like we were discussing earlier. We saw that he will try to bring the rook there and try to put pressure on the a2 pawn. But what I see now that white is managing to activate the pieces, and
the more and more they play, the more you start to question where exactly is black's compensation for the pawn, right? We left it a couple of moves ago, bishop g2, bishop e6. Okay, so David decided that it's not a good idea to trade the bishops. Queen d5, so Keymer slowly improved his position, invited to do some trades.
now final rook is coming to c8. There could be some threat of rook c1, bishop h3, but there is always something.
Maybe it's still good for black, you know, because black has this activity, but I think that if I'm white, I can always play king g2.
Absolutely.
King g2, rook c1, bishop e2. I keep my pawn. A pawn is a pawn. There's this very famous saying. So that's what Vincent is thinking right now.
Yeah, for sure. That's his process of thinking, and maybe actually even after if rook leaves the last rank, maybe there could be some queen d8 check and queen d4 trading the queens. I mean, and activating the rook. So
there's, by the way, a question in the chat, Angelica. Sorry that I interrupted you.
It's okay.
What's the result of Amin Bassem draw? That's the result. Draw. I just saw it. He agreed to a draw with Daniel Bogdanyak.
yeah, exactly.
Queen d4 instead played by Vincent. He attacks the queen, he attacks the bishop. In a simple language, what Vincent is trying to do is he's trying to simplify the position, trade the queens, maybe trade the bishops, and then try to get to an endgame being up a pawn.
Yeah, because let's imagine the trade is going to happen. The rook can get to the fourth rank, and there could be some rook a4 attacking of the a pawn, or rook can join even to the seventh rank in some positions. So, yeah, it's getting dangerous for David Navara.
And what's the problem of queen f3? Queen f4, I guess, right? Checkmate.
Checkmate to the queen.
Checkmate to the queen, indeed. And after, let's say, takes, I could take with the g pawn. Or maybe even a e pawn, rook c1, and king g2. And wait, there might be bishop f3, but that's why you can always take with this pawn. Although bishop f3 is still a problem. Either way, that's what David is trying to figure out what to do, because he doesn't want to trade the queens. But what do you do?
There is also something like queen e6, but that's
Queen
maybe
e6.
looks too passive. Yeah.
Here.
Queen f4 again.
Not even to mention the pawn on a7 is under attack, yeah? Also could be an opportunity to grab a second pawn.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with some queen b1 check, so that's why sometimes... I mean, it's like... Okay, so bishop e6 was actually played.
So David says, okay, you have tricked me, you have traded queens, so it's time to go for a defense with a5, maybe rook b8, a4, try to press against these pawns. I think that king g2 makes a lot of sense. Rook d4, rook a4 looks like a good maneuver. Not only protecting the pawn on a2, but also attacking the pawn on a7. I think it's pretty clear to say that Navara has no compensation for the pawn here.
Yeah,
so
absolutely no compensation, but...
king g2 is on the board.
King g2 is on the board, not allowing any tricks here in the position, so rook c1 played, trying to activate the rook.
Bishop b5 is not a threat, what I'm doing.
Not yet.
Not yet. F3, king f2
F3,
looks good.
king f2, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what to advise for black, but because he's also actually very low on time. So it might be very crucial for him here. I mean, rook a1 makes no sense. I mean, it's very hard. It's very hard to advise
I think
anything
black
here.
is going to play something like this. Rook a1, a5, a4, try to trade something,
Yeah,
or just
but
wait.
it's just so tough. Okay, so bishop e2. Yeah, everything looks logical. And white is going to slowly try to push the pawns on the queen side, and yeah, it's going to be a win. So a5 was played. Indeed, the plan a5, a4.
Right.
Okay, so maybe we could move back to the other leader,
Yeah,
see how he's doing,
We can see that.
how Quang Liem is pushing.
Yeah, we can see that because it's not really so easy.
Yeah. So we have... Oh my god. What is this pawn doing on d7?
No, it's about to promote.
It's about to promote indeed.
Again, I think you can play rook e8 already here. I
Yeah.
see nothing. Just a second. We have the camera feed. It's a bit lagging. Is it, though?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a bit lagging.
Okay,
now
king
you go.
g2 was played. Now knight is under attack. Knight has to move. And at the same time, there is rook e8, unstoppable threat. Rook e8, pawn promotes with d8. Like, how do you stop it? I mean,
There's some perpetual check you need to watch out. Queen g5, queen d2. Maybe first play.
That's true, but there
queen
is
g3.
always okay.
Queen
But
g3
there,
is
that would be also knight f2 maybe.
fine.
But
This is
okay.
easily winning. He's going to win this. Also,
Okay.
knight f4, including some threats against the king. Knight e6, knight g6. That's a resignation on the board. I think right
Yeah.
now, you know it. You know it. You did your best, but queen
You
g6
tried,
is killing.
but this is going to be over.
There's Heinz.
No, we have a result. We have Quang Liem finally.
The leader is finally stopped. All it took was how many rounds? Fifth round. Fifth round it took to finally take down the leader. This also means this is the first loss of Yu Yangyi, because the Chess 960 tournament he played without a single loss. He had 4 victories, 3 draws. This rapid tournament he started with 3 victories, 1 draw, and it took the last year GMT tournament champion like Quang Liem to take down the unstoppable leader. He is stoppable after all.
Absolutely, and also let's recall the game from yesterday. I mean, how painful it was for Quang Liem just blundering that mate in 1 against Yu Yangyi. Oh no, it hurts so much. So what's happening here? Oh my God, those pawns are very dangerous. Those pawns.
I think Vincent is just winning. He's doing a wonderful showcase of the technique. He has managed to capture a second pawn. We have a bit again delay on the camera. But you see, after f takes on e3, rook e4, the pawn on e3 doesn't matter. You don't really need to protect it. b5, b6, a4, a5, a6. Black's h pawn is going forward very slowly.
Yeah,
Because this is where
absolutely.
you have it. Of course, Vincent gave up the pawn immediately.
He gave up a pawn and he's just pushing his A and B pawns just forward. F5 trying something, but unfortunately the pawn is just a little bit slow
I
than
think
it
that's
is.
the fastest one, Angelika, is
Yeah.
b6, king a6, king b7, a4, a5, a6, a7, a8. That's it. I
That's
see no
how it
defense.
is.
These pawns, they face a very serious obstacle. The rook is on the second rank. You can never cross it. f4, f3, rook e2, perhaps. Oh, we jumped forward a couple of moves.
Okay. But why was exactly some rook b2 was, I don't know. First looked like
Yeah.
rook b2 was there, but then no rook b2. Okay. Okay, David's still trying. Of course, it looks.
There's a simple truth, right? You
Yeah.
never resign early, because who was it, who said it? Nobody has made points by resigning early. And David,
Absolutely.
I think he knows he's beat, but he's definitely seeks some chances like f3, rook e2, f2, etc. But I think he knows.
What if he brings king to b8? I just wanted to say king c8, king b8, and just trying to push the pawns. No, just trying.
Rook
Rook
e8,
e8, yeah.
king a7, I guess. Rook e7, king a8, a5, a6, b7. That's it. Maybe a mate trick, rook e5. Okay, I think there's already more than one way to win this. Rook c2 is good. King a7. Yeah, that's it. Rook c2 check is going to be the last move. Oh, just rook f2.
Okay.
Yeah, you just threaten to take it because rook f8. Rook
It
takes
just
an f3.
takes, yeah, exactly.
Vincent Keymer wins. Nothing is going to happen here anymore, and Navara resigns.
Okay.
So, great game by the young German
my
star. This is also going to catapult him closer to the leaders, because if I'm not terribly mistaken, he has now caught David Navara with 7 points, and he is sharing the first place with the other 2 leaders. But first, let's check the results of the round number 5.
Yeah, and here we have the victory of Quang Liem, the GMT 2022 winner against Yu Yangyi, the leader who was leading till this round with David Navara, and David Navara actually losing to Vincent Keymer. So we have both current leaders taking down, and Vincent is actually going to join them together in leading the rapid tournament. We have a draw, Diak against Amin, and we have Arjun Erigaisi finally scoring some points, win against Moussard.
And here the rankings. Vincent Keymer actually not only catapulted to the leaders, he actually catapulted himself in the leading spot. Apparently his tiebreakers are better because he just beat the co-leader David Navara. Yu Yangyi, the previous leader, now has fallen back to the shared first place. Right now in the 3rd place. Amin Bassem has a much better tournament so far compared to the disaster yesterday. He has 6 points. The Quang Liem, the GMT champion of last year, is in the 5th place, still within the reach, still within 1 victory of the rapid tournament. Daniel Bogdan Diak, Arjun Erigaisi, and Jules Moussard still are in contention. And let's check maybe round number 6, who's going to play.
Absolutely. Let's check the pairings of the round number 6, and we are going to have following pairing. So we will have Moussard playing against Quang Liem, Arjun Erigaisi against Bogdan Daniel Diak, Bassem against Vincent Keymer, David Navara against Yu Yangyi, the current leaders together with Vincent Keymer.
And I think this also is a perfect opportunity for us to make a very short break. Let's make it something like 7 minutes. Let's make it like 7 minutes, and hopefully you're not going to go anywhere during this time. So thanks again for watching us. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. We are here definitely from the Swiss city of Biel. That's Angelika Volkova. I'm Grams Ratonakshans. We're making a small break, and we'll be seeing you in a moment. Take care. We're back. Two more rounds of the sixth round of the GMT Festival Rapid Tournament are on the way. Sixth round is about to start. Angelika Volkova, I'm Graham Stratonaktions. We're your host today. And previous round, Angelika, it saw quite a bit changes in the overall rankings because Yu Yangyi no longer is the sole leader of the tournament. We have three of them.
Yeah, it is indeed incredible that both of the leaders, David Navara and Yu Yangyi, were lost in the previous round, and now we have three leaders. We have Vincent Keymer joining them, and actually, according to the tiebreaks, as we see right now, he is on the first place. I mean, the very first place. So David Navara and Yu Yangyi still have 7 points with one loss in the previous round. The Bassem, actually, who was struggling yesterday in chess 960, is going on the track, is getting back on the track and going with 6 points right now. Quang Liem with 5 points. Arjun Erigaisi is also trying to recover from 0 out of 2 games in the first 2 rounds with 4 points right now. And Bogdan Daniel Diak with Jules Moussard are sharing the last place with 2 points.
And just to remind you, the central matchup of the round number 6, this is going to be a clash between two leaders. So it's David Navara against Yu Yangyi. Of course, we're also going to keep a close eye on Vincent Keymer against Bassem. Essentially, number 1 is playing against number 2, and number 3 is playing against number 4, right? The first top places right now, they're going to find out who eventually will become victorious of the Rapid tournament.
Absolutely. And let's see if we can see the players sitting on the board. They're coming. Okay.
I know, I'm pretty sure they're already sitting there.
They're sitting. Okay, this is the
wrong camera.
We have board number 4 actually. Yeah. Yep. Board number 4, waiting for the players to appear. And yeah, this could not be. The last round could not have been better. Like we got all action we wanted, and we got everything all excitement for the next rounds because anyone can win right now. There are 3 leaders. There is Bassem, who is following the leaders just right behind, 1 step behind them. We have 2 rounds to go. Incredible timing. So it looks perfect. So on this board, we're going to have some decision if someone is going to take over of the between David Navara and Yu Yangyi.
I think definitely there will be some decisive results because so far the Rapid tournament of the GMT did not disappoint us. A lot of action, a lot of decisive games, and very few boring games, which is of course what everybody is expecting for a lot of fight. David Navara looks like in good spirits. He's smiling before this very important game. I guess he's just enjoying the tournament here. Just to remind you, yesterday David was able to play one of the most beautiful games of the tournament so far against Bassem. You can check it out. It's available on, I believe, Biel's Twitter page. So, yeah, the games are about to start. They're just waiting to be given the green light.
Yeah, absolutely. Players are already ready to jump into the battle. They have known the pairings, the colors and everything in advance, so they are fully prepared against each other. Let's see which weapons they are going to choose in this battle. Maybe before they are starting, maybe we could remind one more time what is Biel Chess Festival all about.
Right. So in Biel Chess Festival, we have several tournaments. Just a second, let me try to find it.
We are having the...
Just a second, here we go. There we go.
So we have not only the closed tournament Grandmaster Triathlon and Xanthos Chess 960, which was happening yesterday, but also the Swiss Championship Rapid, Blitz, and Fischer Random Rapid Championship, which is also happening at the same time with Grandmaster Triathlon, Xanthos Chess 960. There are as well open tournaments. According to the rating, you could participate in any of them: Master Tournament, Main Tournament, Amateur Tournament. There is also Weeks Tournament, as well as Rapid, Blitz, and Venetum Youth Tournament, as well as Simul Exhibition.
And here the past winners of the Biel Chess Festival. I'm sure some of you might remember, having the fresh memory, how Magnus Carlsen, arguably one of the greatest players in the history of chess, he was here back in 2011. He won the tournament, and then we have household names like Fabiano Caruana, Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, actually winning the tournament 4 record times. Nobody has done it again. And last year's winner, like Quang Liem, is also back in the field, but also arguably MTO, or the Masters Open Tournament, is one of the strongest open tournaments in Europe. Last year's winner, Mohammad Muradli, I don't think I saw him in the list, but we have a lot of other impressive names coming here, and I do believe that Buk Sanji was the top-seeded player of the MTO.
That's for sure. And here is our schedule. So you see, we already have the Xanthos Chess 960 yesterday behind us. Today we're having on July 16 the Rapid. It started at 1 p.m., a bit earlier than normally. Tomorrow there's going to be a break for Grandmasters in the Grandmaster Triathlon for only those 8 players. But other players of the MTO, HTO, and ATO tournaments are going to start their first rounds. On Tuesday we will resume with the classical portion of the Grandmaster Triathlon all the way till July 22nd, when we will have the Blitz portion. There will be again 1 day break, and on 24th July we're going to resume with the classical portion up to July 26th.
The games have started. Let's go to them. And we are going to start with the game of David Navara playing with white against Yu Yangyi, because this is a leader clash, although the start of the game is not really so sharp.
Ambitious, yeah.
Really
It
so
is the exchange slab, right?
I think it started with something else. It was c4, c6, whatever is this. Yeah, I guess
okay.
it's technically exchange Slav, right? I'm not really sure.
I mean, it got transposed,
Right.
transposed to it, so.
Right. So c6 on d5, c6 on d5, d4, we get a symmetrical position. e6, bishop d3, bishop d6, castle, castle.
Okay, the only thing is different from the exchange Slav with the knight on the d7. Normally, after exchange, knight would go on c6, so that's why white used that special moment to take on d5, so that using the fact that knight is already on kind of a worse position there on d7.
Which brings the question, is Navara here with white going to play e4? You know, I'm not particularly familiar with this particular setup, but e4 could be an opportunity for white. Try to get the game in the IQP, or isolate the queen's pawn structure. Once again, let's say d takes, 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 knight f6, followed by something like bishop c2, queen d3, bishop g5, rook e1, knight e5, rook e3, rook h3, queen h5, queen h7, checkmate on the board. Something like that might easily work, but I guess we are going to see.
Yeah, we are going to see this. It's really looks like both of the bishops, like on c1 and on c8, are just waiting for quite some time. I mean, I don't know even which bishop is worse, but it's just for time being, because players are finding the way how to develop. Maybe something like b3 is going to follow, we don't know. Or maybe indeed after e4 break, we are not going to need any of the b3 moves, because the bishop will be able to develop just right to g5 or somewhere there on the diagonal. Yeah.
Angelica, I have a question to you. In terms of the accuracy, who do you think from these two players this particular game has played on a higher percentage?
I would say white.
Why would you say that?
Because I think he was more flexible. We were playing more flexible moves.
All right, and the knight on c3 is supposedly better. Then the knight on d7, it's slightly passive, right? And yet, the system says white is playing on 99% accuracy, and black is playing 99.9% accuracy. You know, I don't really understand why this is the case here. It doesn't really matter. I just find it really curious.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because you feel like first you're looking at the position, okay, knight b2 goes to d7. It should be some kind of a small, very, very tiny disadvantage, but the computer disagrees.
Right. Okay. It doesn't really
It doesn't matter for sure. David is spending quite some time and playing bishop d2.
I think his idea is that he has discarded the chances to play e4. He is going to think about queen b3, perhaps remove the knight. I'm not sure, knight b5 or knight e2, play bishop b4. This is where the queen on b3 is going to help to trade the docks with bishops. And then for a slow positional game, try to, you know, prove black that white has the better light square bishop. So let me just show this point. For example, queen b3, b5, maybe do I include? Knight e2, bishop b7, bishop b4, takes. Yeah, and my point is not my bishop on d3 is just a better bishop than yours on b7.
Yeah, could be, for sure. There is also sometimes an idea of putting the knight somewhere on c5, but since we have the knight on d7, actually it's stopping this idea. So maybe that's why actually knight is better on d7, because it's stopping both knights coming either to e5 or to c5, what normally is the main of idea of such pawn structure.
All right. h6 is played. So I don't think much is happening in this game so far. So we are going to use the opportunity to jump to the second fight between leaders, where Vincent Keymer, the current leader of the overall rankings, he is playing against Bassem.
Yeah, exactly. So let's look what was happening there. Okay, we have some Italian. Some
Knight c3. No, actually, bishop c4 and knight c3. Now, this is something very interesting, because I wonder if Bassem's preparation before the tournament involves some Petrov defense. Why I'm saying this? Because the Petrov defense is considered to be pretty good defense from the black's perspective. And there's so few things that white can do after knight of6. I mean, if you play knight c3, protect the pawn on e4, then you reach the so-called four knights variation, which has quite a drawish reputation, at least at the highest level. I'm talking about 2700 plus. And then you have to enter these positions with knight e5, d6, knight f3, knight e4, and theory only starts. So that's why bishop c4, often at the highest level, this is like white says, we're not going to have a Petrov here. So in case you're going to play knight f6, then I can play d3. And if black plays bishop c5, we play knight f3. Okay, I'm forced to play the Italian game, but we are not playing the boring Petrov.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But something else happened, and knight c3 instead was played. So I wonder how deep really Bassem's preparation goes, because this allows the typical idea of knight e4.
Yeah, so if knight takes, then there is a d5, yeah.
I think the main move was queen h5. Actually.
Ah, yeah, queen h5.
Queen
yes,
h5,
yes.
because knight e4, d5 gives no problems for black. This is no trick. So there was a theory, queen h5. And now, what did you play here? I don't remember. I think it was knight d6, and you could get really ambitious with bishop b3. There's some crazy lines here, which I'm not going to show you. Let's say knight c6, what was it? Knight b5, you can't take it. There's
because
g6.
it's checkmate, yes.
Yeah, here, f5, queen b5, and then black would sacrifice the rook somehow. Okay, but there,
craziness.
let's not look on this. But
yeah.
Vincent said no.
Vincent said no. He's just playing bishop c5, d3. Everything is very calm so far. d6, no crazy lines. Knight e4. a3. So just for bishop to step away, just in case.
Right. Also, what I find it quite interesting that Bassem is not rushing by taking on b6. I think this is something he can always do at any given moment. And Vincent really wants to clarify this situation. That's why he plays queen e8. He wants to force white to take on b6. Also, queen g6 is a possibility to launch the queen at the queen side. And with this double pawn structure, this is a very common idea. I'm wondering if Amin is thinking here about c4, b4, and not actually trade the bishop on b6, but play something like c5.
Yeah, for sure. It could be an idea here. He's trading, actually. He opted out for the trade, and maybe we're going to see the pawn march.
Maybe. I mean, this is a typical quality of a skilled player before. Amin played knight a4 here. With a clear idea that he's going to take on b6, right? That was his idea. And why did not he play knight x b6 immediately? Because he's always checking if there's something else. If there's something else, can I play something else? Can I play a bishop g5 here? Can I play a3, c4, b4? And now that he was forced his hand, the knight on a4 is attacked. He decided, okay, c4, b4 looks interesting, but let me just continue with the original plan.
Yeah, let's just take that bishop over there. We have A, B, the double pawns, rook e1. Yeah, everything looks normal.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's looking really, really peaceful here.
So I think while we have very, very peaceful game, we could check the game Jules Moussard against Quang Liem, because even though they're not the leaders, there is something crazy happening there.
All right.
Oh my God. What is the king doing on d8? Bishops and rooks are in a starting position. Queen is all the way to b2. You know, there was a saying, don't take on b2 or b7, you know?
What kind of opening was this? This looks like some Sicilian to me. No, wait. Yeah, some Sicilian with knight x on c6, b x on c6.
Yeah.
All right. Ah, yes, yes. This very famous line. Yeah, this is the top choice of the engine and highly contested at the highest level. On knight e4, f4, queen b6. Yeah, this is again main move. On the theory, black provokes white to play f4, then he plays queen b6, and he's trying to exploit this weakness on e3. a3. I don't recall. I think the main move was c4, bishop b4, king e2. Don't be surprised. That's the main move here. And it was something like knight e7 at some point. White would even play king f3. Welcome to the modern chess.
That's how the analysis is going. So here we have a3. Maybe just stopping the check. So there is nothing there.
5 takes. Yeah, this is definitely prep. Queen h5, king d8, bishop d3, a5. And black says, even though my king is walking, you can't really exploit it. At the same time, the white king cannot easily castle because the queen on b6 is slowing it down. That
Okay,
was a
so
pawn sacrifice.
yeah, just the pawn sacrifice, saying that you can take the pawn, but I'm going just to play for the pieces activity, and we'll try maybe to trap your queen at some moment, if possible.
That's a brilliant idea. I like it. I'm pretty sure this is still part of the prep, but essentially white is about to secure his king, and black has to accept this pawn. Engine disagrees. Engine says queen takes on b2 is a terrible move, and now white can actually cast the short way. Look at this, right? So white plays bishop d2 and gives black a hint. I want to cast the long way, and after the queen is gone, I'm casting the short way.
Absolutely, and here we have the pawn sacrifice. Bishop takes on b2. We have the bishops which are much stronger on d3 and d2, with all the rooks coming all the way maybe to b1 at some moment. Okay, he played it right now. Giving actually up the other pawn, the second pawn he's giving up, but it's really
Yeah, in the end,
interesting.
in the end, white is will be forced to prove whatever he has for the sacrifice 2 pawns. Rook b1 makes a lot of sense because eventually, when you look at this position, you ask yourself, is the pawn on a3 really the soul of the position here? I think the answer is no. So what is it? What is important in this position? I think that's the direct attack against the black king. And white should use every resource he has at his disposal to get to the black king. So that's where rook b1, I mean, I totally approve. It looks good. But the big question, Angelika, is not 2 pawns too much?
Yeah, that's a big question. We're going for sure to see it. But so far, as I see the position, both rooks are in the starting position, even though rook on a8 might be a bit beneficial because the pawn is ready to march all the way to a1. But the bishops almost don't have any moves. For example, bishop on c8. I mean, there is a bishop a6, but bishop cannot go to b7 or anything. So I don't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, black is threatening just to push forward the pawn, right? I mean, if nothing really happens, play a4, a3, a2, a1, try to distract white. We could play a game of guess here, Angelika. If we would have to guess Engine's evaluation, what do you think it is? What do you think Engine's saying right now? Because the viewers, we don't know it. I have to check. I don't know.
I remember that after queen b2, it was showing that it was a mistake. So maybe at that moment, it would show that white is slightly better. At now, since black is having 2 pawns, I don't know if Engine's still on the side of... I mean, I would be, as a human, on the side of white.
No, but Engine, what do you think Engine is saying here? for white, I would just say, from human's perspective, it's just unclear.
Yeah,
It's the famous
it's,
expression when you don't know what to say, you just say
yes,
it's
you just say
unclear.
unclear, exactly. You just put this mark and then they are just go on. Okay, let's say minus 0.27.
Minus 0.27, Angelica says, computer is probably giving this a minor advantage for black. Let me think. I think engine gives... we are having some fun here, you know. Minus 0.9.
Okay.
Because maybe white has some compensation for the pawn, but not enough. Let me check it. I mean, it's going to be a low-level depth engine, but
What?
plus 0.86. This is what engine is saying. Okay.
We
You see?
both didn't guess.
You see how difficult it is to evaluate a position, right? I mean, it's just an example because it's so difficult. Okay, now rook g8 is played, and now engine says plus 3.4. Does it help you? I don't really know. But we can agree on this, that white has a very strong initiative. It is incredibly difficult to evaluate. I'm a grandmaster myself also, right? I know how these players think, and I can still give a wrong evaluation just like Angelica did.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you were actually closer.
Yeah, but because there was still like it was showing that it was better a little bit for white, but yeah, I was not. I was almost sure that the engine will be materialistic and say, okay, it's even though there is not much piece of activity for black, it's still slightly better for black. But yeah, as we can see, actually, engine is on the side of white. I mean, I totally approve this. Like I would myself, if I could pick. I mean, because I see the easy move to play, and as we can see, the last moves, all the black did was playing with the queen, taking the pawns, and there was one move of the rook to g8, and there are no other pieces working at all in the position. So that could be a main advantage for Jules Moussard here in this
That's
game.
a good point. That's a good point. Indeed, black has wasted a lot of moves with the queen. Okay, this is a game we definitely don't want to miss. d5, very responsible move.
Oh my god. Something like queen f7.
There's a wind whistling here at these dark squares.
Queen f7, bishop e1.
Queen h7. Yeah, this is suddenly looking very dangerous for black.
Bishop e3.
So, I mean,
This is like
the Frenchman is playing just a brilliant game here, right?
absolutely.
Sacrifice one pawn, sacrifice the second pawn, go for the initiative. Your opponent has to solve a lot of practical problems in a very short time frame. And this is how you should be playing, right? So in case you're held back by something insignificant as a pawn, I mean, take notes from these grandmasters. They're showing you how to play.
Yeah, now bishop f2 with bishop h4 threat, for example.
There's a lot of threats.
There
There's
are a
also
lot
bishop
of
takes an
threats.
f5.
Exactly. I mean, just so many moves. Like you can choose whatever you want to play.
You know, actually, maybe this can be like Quang Liem's undoing. Sorry, not like Quang Liem's, Jules Moussard's undoing, because essentially when you have so many good continuations, when you have 1, 2, 3, 4 continuations, and you're looking at this and you're like, oh my goodness, how did we land here? I mean, what on earth should I choose? Sometimes even very good players, they get confused. So you simply have to choose something and stick to it. So it's easier to play perhaps a position with not as great advantage, but you have just one clear path to continue. And then you just choose it, right?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. So that's why he's trying to find the safe way, how he can keep this advantage, and then he's just going for it. So
But this looks crushing. I mean,
this
bishop
looks
takes
crushing,
e5.
absolutely.
I think that here, Quang Liem is already thinking about perhaps he should sacrifice the queen. And I think that he's probably in a small shock here. I mean, how did I get here so quickly, right? I mean, but you were the one who took the pawn on b2.
Exactly. That's why many people are saying, okay, don't take the pawn on b2 or b7, you know? Just don't take it.
It's poison.
Just don't do it, yes.
Actually, that's why it's very nice that you brought this up. This pawn on b2 in the Sicilian Naidor very often is called the poison pawn variation. Actually, that's the variation it goes by, because if you take the pawn, you're going to suffer.
Yeah, and king is going all the way to d6. I mean, do you like this king? Very, very active king. Okay, yeah.
Okay, now
then
the question, Angelica, imagine yourself in the shoes of Quang Liem. So you have this terrible position. What would be your strategy? What would you do? So you have a bad position. You know that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Liam knows he messed up. He made some bad choices before, but this is the position that you have. And what would you do?
Yeah, first of all, like not thinking about the past. So just, okay, this position is what we have to take. Is because some players, they're trying to return, oh no, I got this position. Why did I take that pawn? Why did I do that? It doesn't matter in this moment because you're already having this position, you have to deal with it. So maybe trying to give up material in some way. But the problem is it's very difficult to give up a material. I don't know how we can give those 2 pawns back.
Maybe the queen.
Maybe the queen. I mean, that's the one way I was looking at, yes. So just trying to give up the queen for a rook and the bishop and having those 2 pawns. I mean, not anymore 2 pawns, actually 1 pawn.
I think one thing I would not do myself is I wouldn't be sitting here forever because I already know my position is bad. So I will be playing very, very quickly to apply some extra pressure against my opponent because deep inside, I think that Liam knows he's probably close to strategically lost, maybe just dead lost. So the only thing perhaps he could do is play fast, confuse the opponent with the vast amount of choices he has.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what he is going to try to do. And meanwhile, we're going to check our leaders, I think, right? Or we
I
didn't.
think it's a good idea.
Yeah. So David Navara and Yu Yangyi, some open king over there. Some action, but is it really a big action there, or?
Unless there's a mate, I think it's a perpetual.
Yeah, so it was a sacrifice of the piece, and so now king has to move.
Yeah, unless there's
I mean,
rook
king
e3. No, it's just a
King
draw.
h8 is the only move. Queen
It's
h5.
just a draw. We missed couple of yeah. David shows with the body language. Listen, I sacrificed the piece. It's just a draw. We caught a very nice moment here. The leaders shake hands. What happened here? It was bishop takes on h6.
Yeah, he sacrificed the bishop, and
And there was nothing more than a draw because you can't play rook e3, rook g3, which would be really nice. But there's one major problem. Your back rank.
Yeah.
There's a check.
Absolutely. I almost try to get something, but yeah, if everything is protected and you have some issues with the back rank, you cannot make it. So we have a peaceful result here with our 2 leaders, which actually leaves some chances for Vincent, just in case he's going to win this round. He's going to be the sole leader. So maybe that's perfect moment to check how is he doing against the 4th place Bassem Amin.
Right. I think that David was not happy with something because he played bishop takes on h6. He knew he's forcing a draw. He had no illusions that maybe his opponent is going to blunder the mate or something. So whatever he didn't like in the position, we could always ask him. Right? But perhaps he just felt, okay, my opponent knows what he's doing. I'm slightly below on the clock. I don't really have to force matters in this game because we still have one more game. And draw was agreed.
Yeah,
Okay, rook c1 here is played. Amin Bassem currently in the 4th place against the leader, one of the co-leaders of the tournament, Vincent Keymer, who scored a very important victory. Was it the victory last round? I'm trying to remember. I already forgot.
Yeah, I think he did. And he won against... no. Actually, he drew the previous game. But yeah, before that, he scored very important victory. I don't remember.
Against Navara, right?
Yes.
Yes, against Navara. This amazing rooking game where he got an extra pawn after the opening. Now the question is how to evaluate this properly. White has a bishop in a semi-open position. This is, I guess, a slight advantage to him. The knight on e5 is beautiful, but it's not doing much. But there's something which might be causing white some headaches. It's this weakened pawn on a3 because black can always target it. Maybe you also think about ideas like b5, if this is a possibility, establishing the outpost on c4. Right now this is impossible because the pawn on c7 is under attack.
So something like rook f7 or rook e7 could be an idea to protect the pawn, maybe?
I like rook f7. Unless, of course, Vincent wants to be ambitious. Perhaps he doesn't like bishop d4. And he's going to want to keep the knight on the board. because he knows the importance of this game. He knows that despite the fact he has the black color, despite the fact he's ahead of Amin Bassem by 1 point, that this game is quite crucial for the overall rankings. So if he wins this game, this is a major step for him to cement his leadership in overall rankings.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why he's taking some time. Both players having around 4 minutes, so still a lot of time. Position is pretty complicated, as Sartus already said, that there is a knight against bishop. Is a knight better in this position? I mean, most likely for now, knight is standing perfectly on e5, but yeah, maybe he doesn't want to give away the knight to get traded.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know what he's thinking about, some longer concept perhaps. Maybe c5, you know. I think c5 looks very interesting here. Stopping bishop d4, fixing this is a potential weakness. So maybe he's looking into some moves like... Actually, I think I would just play c5 in heartbeat. You know, it just looks normal. It allows me to fight for the d4 square outpost. I'm sure he's looking at it right now, and maybe he's trying to understand some final details.
Yeah, maybe.
And he plays it.
And he goes for it. He doesn't want to allow bishop d4. He doesn't want to allow the straight. Yeah, I mean, very, very nice approach by him.
I like it.
Yeah.
It feels that black is out of the danger. There's no danger for him. And now the question is what Amin wants to do. Because I don't think he really wants to take on c5. Because b takes c5, b takes c5. This is, again, quite interesting moment. Because white supposedly has a passed pawn. But if we count the number of the so-called pawn islands, I mean, white has 3 of them. So this is 1 island at the king's side, the pawn on c4, the pawn on a3. Black has 2 pawn islands. And according to the theory, I mean, having 2 pawn islands is just better, right? So I don't think that b takes on c5 is going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I think that white might hold the pressure for quite some time. Oh, actually, they're not holding pressure. They're just going forward. So the idea might be to push a4, a5?
Yeah, this looks reasonable. a4, a5, maybe queen b3, rook a1, etc. Vincent reminds white, you have some issues here to attend. Knight g4 could be a problem. I think
maybe
h3.
Maybe h3 or f3, I was thinking.
Can I be very creative here, Angelika? Why not? You know, the point is g takes f3, queen h3. Now this is unstoppable threat.
Yeah.
I stop your f4. And, I mean, what do? I'm just going to double the rook. Maybe play rook h3, queen h3. And still knight f3 is a big threat. Actually, rook f3 is a very, very hidden threat. So I'm pretty sure that Amin is looking at this right now, and that's why he plays f3. I mean, look at how skilled is Bassem, right? He didn't respond to automatic h3. He recognized already the threat as rook f3. Otherwise, he would have played h3 in a heartbeat.
But I think it's also logical protecting the e4 pawn, and there is always bishop f2 attacking the queen there, so kind of prolonging the pawn structure.
I didn't even see the pawn on e4 is under attack.
Yeah.
So
That's why I said f3.
I was only looking at knight g4. I missed the pawn on e4 is under attack.
Yeah, but okay, knight g4 is much stronger threat, obviously.
Right.
If we have a checkmate attack and we have some pawn standing there, we don't need that pawn. Okay, it looks like white's king is kind of in a good shape, out of solid so far.
Yeah, but again, the major difference is if we would check the engine. So let me check the engine. We are not using it. The engine says it's minus 0.11, whatever it means. It means it's equal, but what it really matters in this position is black is attacking. Right? I mean, black has some initiative. Maybe it's not very important, but when the time scramble is approaching, having this minor initiative is really important. So I would expect queen g5, bishop g3. If I manage to play in time, knight g6, e5, h5, h4, knight f4, rook g6. This looks really promising for Keymer, and suddenly Amin Bassem's a4, a5 feels like, you know, what exactly are you doing there?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel that there is going to anything happen, and even in the worst case, b6 pawn will be able to recapture on a5, and c7 pawn will be taking care of the b5 pawn. I mean, that mating attack, attack on the king looks very, very promising indeed.
Maybe he has to sacrifice a pawn already, like bishop g3, knight g6, and play e5, stopping black's e5 idea. And now he's trying to evaluate what happens here. Takes it, and can I do this? Looks actually
Very,
safe.
very nice because now there are many moves. There is queen d7, there is doubling on the e file, rook e4, even with idea rook g4 sometimes. So the question is then who is attacking then? Yeah, I think that this actually this pawn on e4 might be even on the way of white, and they would like to sacrifice it. Who knows?
This is a hidden draw offer. I think Amin Bassem is launching the draw offer right here. He says, "Do you want to draw?" I think I don't mind, right? I mean, queen h4, bishop f2, queen g5, bishop e3. This is a probing move, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that he wants a draw, but sometimes it's a good idea, to get the clear answer from the opponent.